Hey guys, welcome to my channel. On today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft a basic trouser with lining. Today's tutorial will be on freehand method. So you need your basic measurement for this: your waist, your hip measurement, your lap measurement, your nail, your ankle, half length trouser, and your full length trouser. So our fabric will be unfold, and the first thing we'll do is to get the length of our trouser. Then I went ahead to mark out my waistband measurement. So I'll be using 2 inches for this. So you see me, after marking the 2 inches, I went ahead to add 0.5 for your sewing allowance. This is the front part we are going to cut first. And for us to do that, we are going to use our lap measurement or our thigh measurement, then divide it by 2. Whatever we get, that's what we are going to fold this fabric on. Remember, the fabric is being folded into 2. So this is the front part. So the next thing I went ahead to do is for us to get our crotch measurement. One of the methods is to divide your hip into 4. Then you can add 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches depending on the size you're working with. So this is a hip 44. So I'll be adding 1.5 to that measurement. So that will be our crotch measurement. This is one of the methods to get your perfect crotch measurement. Divide your hip by 4, then add 1.5. So after getting our crotch measurement, the next thing we are going to do is to get our half length trouser. Then I mark it out, then our full length already marked that out. So the next thing we are going to do now is to mark our hip measurement divided by 4. We are going to mark that on the crotch line and on the waistline. So for this method, we added 1 inch to the initial measurement, 11 inches, then I added 1 inch. So I added the 1 inch, that way we are going to get our sewing allowance. So from here on your crotch line, you go up by 2 inch or 2.5. So here I went up by 2.5. So that will be my hip line. So I divided my waist measurement into 4. Then I marked. So for this pant, I'm not going to add that to the front part of it, so you can decide to add. So if you're going to add, don't forget to add your 1 inch for your dance allowance. So yeah, I divided my my waist into 4. Then I went ahead to add my 1 inch sewing allowance. Remember, we are working with freehand method, so you are going to add the allowance. So I added 1 inch. So no need to mark out your hip measurement because you already have the hip measurement marked out already. So I went ahead to connect from my waist to my hip line. Is to mark out my lap measurement. So from this part, you're going to divide your measurement into 2, your lap into 2. So after dividing it into 2, I went ahead to mark my 1 inch sewing allowance. So after doing that, I'll get the midpoint of my lap. Then I marked it on the crotch line on my half length trouser. So I make sure to mark it from that point to the hemline. This way I'm going to get a straight line. So the next thing I did here was to use my ruler to connect the lines together. So remember, your lap, you divide it into 2. Whatever you get there, you mark the midpoint, then you connect to your hemline. So do well to use ruler to do this. So the next thing I did here was I went ahead to divide my new measurement into 2. I went ahead to mark it like this. So I also added, instead of adding 1 inch to one side, I went ahead to add half inch on both sides, making it 1 inch for our sewing allowance. So I did the same thing on the ankle, divide my measurements into 2, then I mark. Sorry, I don't know, the camera wasn't getting to the ankle line. So also I need to make a curve from that my hip line to my crotch line. So you can either use your ruler or use your hand to make that curve. So I went ahead to connect from my crotch line to my knee line to make a curve there. Then I also connected from that point to my hemline. You can use your hand or you can use your ruler if you have. I also did the same thing on the other side. So I later use my hand to make this connection. So after doing that, you notice those sharp edge. So I make sure that those sharp edge is not there, so I use my chalk to connect it. You can also use a ruler to do this connection to avoid those sharp edge. So after we are done connecting all our lines, on the front line you need to make a slant on the front line, so you can either use 0.5 or 1 inch on the front. So for this tutorial I'm using 0.5. So you see that I'm connecting it from the center front to my waistline and make a slant there. So after that we are done with the front pattern, then I went ahead to cut out my trouser. Do well to subscribe if you have watched to this point. That means you find this tutorial helpful. Kindly subscribe, like, comment and share this video to your friends. So here for the back part, we'll be using our front trouser to do that. So I make sure to fold enough fabric that will contain my sewing allowance for the back, like the way you see me do. Then I went ahead to mark out all these lines so that it will be easy for us to add our sewing allowance. So after doing that, I went ahead to mark on the waistline. I added 1 inch for that. I didn't add on the front side, so I'm adding it at the back. I added 1 inch for that, then 1 inch for sewing allowance. We are doing this because we are using the freehand method so that we will have enough allowance to sew our trouser. So I marked down 1 inch down to our hemline. So the back side of our trouser is not the same with the front. So we'll go up by 1.5 or 2 inches depending on the measurement you're working with. So for this measurement, we'll be using 1.5 inches. So you go up by 1.5 inches. Then on the crotch line, I added 0.5, that is half inch on that crotch measurement. This way your trouser will sit perfectly well. So you connect from that 1.5 to your waist measurement. Just make a snap like this. So you make sure to connect all the necessary lines together from my waist to my hip using my ruler. You can also use your hand to do this connection. I did the same thing here, connected from that 0.5 I added to my half length. So after connecting all our necessary lines together, at this point we are done cutting our trouser. So I'll go ahead to cut it out. So we are done cutting the back side of our trouser. So this is what it looks like after cutting. So remember, after cutting the front, I did not slant it. So here now I'm slanting the front side of this trouser. That way to make our trouser fit well on the front. So this trouser, we'll be adding lining to it because it's see-through, it's lace. So we are going to add lining to it. So for this line I'm using crepe. That way it will be stretching. So what I went ahead to do here is to mark out how I want the lining to be. So this person wants the lining to be half. So I'm using the new measurement. I came down like 1 inch from the actual new measurement to mark. Then I added 1 inch to fold it down. I'm making sure that it's straight here. Then I went ahead to cut out. So here I'm cutting out the back part of it. Now this is what you do while cutting the back side. The front side I use 21 inches to cut out the front. Now you be careful because if you use the same 21 inches to fold while cutting the back side, it will not be equal. So what I did was to use, after placing it on the fabric, I used from the waistline. That's where I measured my 21 inches from, not from where I slant from where I made that slant on the back side. So that way my trouser will be my trouser lining will be equal both front and back at the side of it. So this is what it looks like after cutting our lining. So thank you for watching. Do well to subscribe if you find this video